this video, I'm going to explain things you should know before you go on your first cruise. Maybe you're thinking about booking your cruise or you're in the early planning stages. This video will help you on your way before you hit that embarkation day. So before you even book your cruise, you need to research what cruise line is going to fit your specific travel needs and your style. There's hundreds of different cruise lines, but they're all not the same. Some may cater to partiers, some may cater to older adults. There's a wide range of cruise lines you can select, so you should probably do a little bit of research on the cruise line that will fit your specific needs for your vacation before you book. So before you book your room, you need to decide what part of the ship will be best for you. Now every cruise ship is going to be a bit different based on the size, the activities on board. But the general consensus is the back of the ship, you'll probably get a little bit more seasick. You'll feel the waves and the bumps a little bit more. And just a tip, if you suffer from seasickness like myself, the best place to get is midship, lower deck for the best bang for your buck. But not only that, you want to make sure which floor you want to be on, because if you get a room like right under the kitchen or right under the theater, it may be very loud. You can hear the activities outside. Maybe you want to get a room that's a little bit closer to the activity so you're right there in the middle of everything and don't have to walk across the ship. Or maybe you're on an Alaskan cruise or a scenic cruise and you want a balcony and you want to see the scenery outside your door. So there's a lot to think about, and that's something you should really put research and thought about before you book. You also need to make sure that you're not going to be bringing prohibited items on board. Now this is going to be different based on the cruise line, but some general items that I always see people bringing on board and then get confiscated are extension cords. So those usually aren't allowed on cruise ships. Any type of alcohol that isn't wine. Now some cruise ships do allow you to bring a bottle of wine or two on board. Any fire hazards, some tools and appliances and drones. So that's something you need to research based on your specific cruise line before you embark. You also need to book the room that is suitable for you. Now, if you're going to be bringing this big suitcase, maybe even 2 suitcases. I've seen people go on a cruise ship with 2 large suitcases. You're not going to want to book that interior stateroom because there's no room to put your suitcases. Now sometimes you can store them under the beds or in the closets, but your room is so small if you're booking that interior stateroom. Probably best that you bring a carry-on suitcase if you're going to travel in one of those. So really do your research on the size and the items that you're going to bring along with you. You also need to know the weather in your destination so you can pack appropriately. Now some people think if you're going on an Alaskan cruise in the middle of summer it's going to be hot. Do your research, because oftentimes it's not the case. Alaska's weather is very different and changes very rapidly, so make sure you bring those jackets in the summer as well. Maybe you need to bring a rain jacket in a tropical destination because it's going to rain a lot. That's going to be based on the destination you're going to, so make sure you research that beforehand. Now this next thing you need to research before you go, or at least think about, is excursions. Now you can totally book excursions on board during your cruise, but that doesn't always mean that it's going to be available. The more popular excursions are going to be booked out ahead of time and you won't get a chance to book on board. Everything left that's going to be available to book on board are going to be those excursions that they offer a lot more people to travel, or the less popular excursions. You also need to research if you're going to book your excursions with the cruise line or without. Now, perks of booking your excursions with a cruise line means that they're not going to leave you in case your excursion goes a little bit past time than planned. Say you get lost, someone gets lost, or there's a lot of traffic and you're not back in time for the cruise ship to leave. If you booked with the cruise line, they're required to wait for you. Now, if you book your excursion off the cruise line site with another third-party excursion company, if you're not there on time, they may leave you. Now, another thing you want to look at ahead of time is if your cruise line offers reserved dining times. Not all of them offer this, and sometimes it's just like come as you please kind of thing, but you want to make sure you know that beforehand so you can book your preferred dining time ahead of time. I often don't like to do that because every day is different. I may get hungry at different times of the night or day, so I just like to do it and go as you please. But if you're not like me and you like to have a specific dining time every day, you want to do that ahead of time. You also want to know if you want to book an alcohol or drink package ahead of time. You can also book this on board, but it's just nice to know ahead of time so you can pay that up front and you're not having these outrageous costs while you're on board. So something to think about. You also may want to have a budget for onboard activities. So you'll have to pay for things like the casino, any drinks if you didn't book them ahead of time, bingo, different activities. So you may want to come up with like a budget because things can get out of hand really quickly. And I know from firsthand experience. Now you may want to look into ahead of time which ports are going to be a tender port and which ports are not. Because those tender ports, oftentimes when the ship gets into your destination, they have to drop the anchor, they have to get all the little lifeboats, what are they called? Tender boats, ready for everybody. It can take upwards of an hour from when the ship gets into your destination to when you'll actually be on the port in your destination. So you want to know that ahead of time in case you book excursions and activities in your destination so you can plan accordingly. You also want to know this information from when you get back on the ship, that it's going to take a while from you to get on that little tender boat to be back on the ship. It may take another hour for you to get safely on the ship, and you want to know that so the ship doesn't leave you. Oftentimes they will tell you when the last tender boat leaves, so you can set that time as your departure time. You also may want to know the legal currency of your destination because sometimes those cruise ports don't always accept card, and you want to have a little cash on hand in case you want to shop at a mom and pop shop or one of those little booths or something. Oftentimes those cruise ports do have ATMs that you can use, and if you use your card they will give you the local currency, just so you know. You also may want to know the different ways to get around the cruise port. Now certain cruise ships will have a talk like the day before and tell you different ways to get around, things to do on site, but some cruise ships may not offer this, and you want to know how to get around ahead of time. You may want to research if Uber is common, if there's taxis at the cruise port, if there's buses, shuttles, things like that. It may be a good idea to know ahead of time. And last but not least, you always want to know when your embarkation time is. Once you book your cruise, they'll tell you your embarkation time, usually a few days ahead of time, maybe a week or two, so you know when to arrive at the ship. That's all I have. I hope this is helpful for any of you first-time cruisers, or maybe you've been on a cruise and it's been a little while. So I'll see you on the next one.